Hi, everyone. My name is Julie Blanc. I'm co-founder and CEO of Rentana. Revenue is a team sport, and speed is the scorecard. Multifamily owners and operators have more data than ever, really coming from all systems and tools, everything from marketing analytics, pricing dashboards, renewal forecasts, you name it. And yet, revenue decisions are still made across the organization in those different teams at different times when they're all truly leading up to the same picture and the same goal. Marketing generates the demand. Leasing is in charge of optimizing conversion. Pricing often looks at occupancy, which is a little bit of a delayed indicator. And renewals is often working on a whole different timeline, projecting out 90 days, sometimes 180 days out in advance. And yet each of these teams is performing with all of the data that they have and their tools, but they're not operating in one system. The real competitive advantage of AI systems today is truly getting that unlock and collaboration across the organization, all looking at that demand funnel and that full demand picture together, and also actually making decisions off of that context as quickly as possible before occupancy becomes a later sort of confirmatory data point. You actually want to be able to make those decisions in advance. And so we truly see that the power of AI is really getting those teams to align across all of these data points, see that incredibly clearly. And that's why we believe that revenue is a team sport. And truly the teams that are excelling here are the ones that believe that it's a team sport and the scoreboard truly is speed. The gap between the actions that you take and actually the impact is really about that signal to action. The teams that can actually minimize that and take the signals, take the actions actually proactively in advance, they're the ones that truly can make a difference and also ultimately really gain that NOI edge that we're all looking to get. The gap that we see today, it's not intelligence. Teams actually have great systems. They have great tools, especially, the marketing teams have full dashboards, pricing teams have all sorts of sophisticated systems. Everyone's an Excel ninja, and I know that now with all these AI tools, people are getting even more savvy as well and connecting the data themselves and getting their outputs. The first gap that we see is truly timing. So the pricing team is working on one cadence of timing. They're reviewing the pricing on a weekly basis, sometimes daily. You have the marketing teams running completely independently sometimes, and they're actually performing and measuring their performance indicators on their cadence. And then, as I mentioned, the renewal timing is often, sometimes from a regulatory perspective, but also just from a projection perspective, is really, sort of months in advance. And so you can see these things are not jiving, but you're also ultimately going to have the better impact and really get the most out of AI systems if that operating rhythm is completely connected. And so what are we trying to optimize with that timing? Demand is not just an economic signal. It's not just a marketing metric. We actually think it can be a forward-looking piece of revenue intelligence. There's so much richness in your marketing data. It's really just about unlocking it across the organization. So traffic trends are actually insights into future absorption. Lead quality can actually give you signals into pricing sensitivity. And campaign performance, especially once it's really optimized, can really show you that demand and how that's changing, and if it's increasing or decreasing, and give you that real-time feedback as soon as possible. When the pricing team is actually making changes on occupancy, that's a little too late. You actually want to be making changes when you see the changes in that demand pattern, in the forward-looking signals, again, that traffic, that lead quality. When you're looking at that, you're actually going to get so much more alpha if you're able to react to that instead of occupancy, which is a bit after the fact and really should confirm your hypothesis. So we think that occupancy confirms, it doesn't predict, and pricing really should only react in advance of occupancy, and that's really going to confirm your decisions there. The other opportunity in AI systems and where we've seen AI systems fall short is that time to value. We've heard it here time and time again. These systems are smart, they're fast, so why can't I get the ROI out of them as fast as possible? And so that's really super important for that rollout. Revenue intelligence is not just about increasing efficiency. That's a wonderful byproduct, but it's actually about creating that decision-making in one cohesive framework and having all those different departments work in lockstep and those full demand pictures all work together and get those insights. So time to value is actually a real differentiator. If you're able to spin up your AI systems and get the output from them, especially with what we're seeing, obviously, from a staffing perspective in this industry, you want to make sure that once you engage in that change management and you actually commit to that, you commit to the learning, you're not going to be having so much turnover that before the tool is actually implemented months later, you've lost that momentum, you've lost that buy-in, And then you also want to see the results. We all are working in a more competitive market than ever, and everyone's trying to test, sort of deploy and actually get to what they need as soon as possible. So we believe that time to implementation is incredibly important for these AI systems to be successful, and also really need to be looking one step forward and making sure that you're getting revenue intelligence that gives you the confidence in those pricing decisions, gives you that pricing elasticity, insight, also forecast demand, and really looks at it holistically. So here you can just see one of the many ways, right, that once sort of trust erodes in these systems when you have too much of a time lag from that initial enthusiasm, that initial demo, maybe getting it on one or two properties, but let's get it on your full portfolio. Let's actually see that impact and actually see that ROI. The other big opportunity here is making sure that all of those teams, the renewals, the marketing, the leasing team, the pricing team, they're all working in lockstep off of one cohesive platform and operating rhythm. When you're looking at demand, not all leads are created equal. When you're looking at the funnel, leads to tours, tours to applications, applications to leases, how is that converting over time? Is there any part that is getting faster or slower? Is it an operational opportunity? Is it one of our tools? How is that conversion quality? Did we spend all this money on a certain traffic source and we have great volume, but then we have low conversion? So ultimately, that's not what we're looking for. And then on the supply side, how do we make sure that we're looking at our exposure? We're also looking at how our renewals have been doing, but also that seasonality. When you're managing so many different assets, so many different markets, it's honestly really hard to keep track, right, of what that seasonality is across the various markets. Summer in Chicago is not the same as summer in other parts of the country. And so you want to make sure that you're adequately managing your supply at the right point in time. An operating system that brings all this together, that's really what brings an impact. We've seen this with one of the companies that we're working with, Earth Capital Partners. They deployed Rentana within 2 weeks. So we instantly connected to the APIs of the property management system. We're able to get the full rent roll and all that supply and demand data and start optimizing their information. Within 2 weeks, we had the team fully trained. That's everyone from the executives, the leadership, the management, to the on-site teams. And that was really the big unlock here, is that you have this transparency. Everybody from marketing to leadership to ownership, the investors, they're all starting to see this information. And this is directly a quote from the owner himself, that Rentana, implementing Rentana within 1 quarter of having the system in place, they increased NOI by 8% and completely attributed to Rentana. So we can really, come here, increase housing, increase occupancy, really help owner operators really manage what that optimal set of data is and that optimal time. We really believe that if you connect all of your teams and your systems, revenue is a team sport and speed is the scorecard. Please come visit us. We have the first booth in the startup section, table 1, and feel free to shoot me an email if you have any questions at all. Would love to speak. Thank you so much.